Welcome back to our budget special coverage, and my colleague Parikshit Luthra also spoke to Anish Shah of M&M on the budget, what he made of it, how it could impact his business and the economy. Listen into that conversation.
This is actually an excellent budget. It's very thoughtful. It's not easy to meet all the constituents' needs, but I feel that this does it well because first, let's start with the long-term vision, which is really around Viksit Bharat and positioning India in the world as a growing power. And there are a number of elements of the budget that enable that. In terms of the logistics focus that we have, in terms of the states that are brought in and the incentives given to be able to make business easier. And these are actions that will really position India very well in the long term. In addition to that, it's an inclusive budget. Because there's a lot of emphasis on social empowerment, on homes, and a number of other areas that address the four constituents that you mentioned. And beyond that, it's also one that showcases and takes further India's leadership on the climate front. And a number of initiatives that have been outlined in the budget that will be climate friendly. So on balance, I would say that this is one that is very positive for the country overall for the long term, and for the industry and for various different constituents in the country.
Right. Let me speak about the climate action and the opportunity there. The rooftop solarization scheme, which would cover 1 crore households, and they will be able to obtain up to 300 units of free electricity. The government believes this will lead to savings of 15,000 to 18,000 annually. Then you have the green growth schemes, where you have spoken about coal gasification, viability gap funding for offshore wind energy for about 1 gigawatt. You've also spoken about phased mandatory blending of compressed biogas in CNG. How do you see these measures, and how do you think the industry will pick up cues from this?
So the world is concerned about energy transition, and there are multiple discussions around that. I think India is showing the way. India is showing leadership in energy transition in terms of how it can happen. It started with utility scale solar plants and now hybrid, which is solar, wind and storage that have come in as well. And with rooftop solar now and other incentives around it, this is one that will transform the way India uses energy. And first, it's cheaper, and therefore it's beneficial for users, whether they're industries or individuals. And second, it's cleaner, and that will enable, again, a better environment, which is something that we all look forward to. But beyond that, for the long run, it really helps in that fight against climate change. So I think it covers a number of areas. Today we see utility scale solar plants being much cheaper than fossil fuel based plants, and that's something that is not only at the utility level, but even as we put in smaller captive plants for specific uses, and as we extend that to rooftop solar, that's exactly the same principle. The technology is there, it is better overall, and this budget is enabling it. So industry should welcome it and actually drive a much faster conversion to renewables for everyone.
Right. I would just like to quote Anand Mahindra as well. He tweeted some time back, "For many years I have been saying that we create too much drama around the budget and raise expectations of policy announcements to an unrealistically feverish pitch." What do you think India has done by giving a budget which covers all the major segments of the population, of the industry? No big bang announcements, as this is a vote on account, but at the same time also indicates that we don't want to go in for open populism. We want to maintain fiscal discipline. How do you see the messaging in this budget?
For this, I would look at the past few budgets, not only this one. And we've seen economics really play center stage as compared to politics. And that is always better for the economy. As you rightly said, there are no big bang announcements, there are no populist measures. At the same time, it's about inclusive growth, and there are segments of society that are not left behind. And therefore, I think this balances everything really well.
Right. And finally, there was no announcement on the FAME scheme, but yes, The FM indicated that the support for electric mobility would continue. A payment security mechanism for electric buses will also be brought in. How do you see that? Are you hoping for some clarity on the FAME scheme?
I believe there will be clarity in terms of the operating mechanisms. That was not required in the budget itself. But the positive aspect is that that scheme is continuing right now. And the other aspects also around buses as well as around the EV charging infrastructure is a positive step forward, because we will see the country really starting to adopt EVs as we see a slew of EV products start coming in over the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, so that's as far as the budget is concerned. But in other big news that